Famous Marine World War II units. The 3rd Marine Division saw combat for over 21 months from late 1942 to the end of 1944. This is not counting the time spent training in the Pacific. During this time, they fought in some of the most brutal battles of the Pacific, including Bougainville and Iwo Jima. The 3rd Marine Division was activated on November 1, 1942, at the Marine Corps Recruit Depot in San Diego. The division was made up of the 1st, 6th and 7th Marines, as well as the 27th Marine Brigade. They were deployed to the Solomon Islands in November 1942, where they engaged in fierce fighting against the Japanese. One of their most famous battles was the Battle of Bougainville. The battle took place between November 1942 and February 1943. The Japanese had established a strong defensive position on the island, but the Marines were able to dislodge them. The battle was costly, with the Marines suffering heavy casualties, but it was a necessary step in the campaign to retake the Solomon Islands. After the battle, the 3rd Marine Division was sent to the Admiralty Islands in March 1944. Here they engaged in more fierce fighting against the Japanese, but by this time, the Japanese were on the defensive and the Marines were able to push them back. In August 1944, the 3rd Marine Division was involved in one of the most famous battles of the Pacific, the Battle of Iwo Jima. The battle was fought over a small, uninhabited island that was just 850 miles away from mainland Japan. The Japanese had built extensive underground fortifications on the island, and were determined to defend it to the death. The Marines suffered heavy casualties as they fought their way up the island's steep cliffs and through the Japanese defenses, but they were eventually successful. The battle was a major victory for the Marines, and it showed the world that the Japanese were not invincible. It also gave the United States a valuable airbase from which to launch its final assault on mainland Japan. The 3rd Marine Division was involved in many other battles during World War II, including the Battle of Guam and the Battle of China. But their fighting days were over after World War II. They were deployed to the Korean Peninsula in September 1945 and then to China in December 1945. The division was inactivated. On June 1, 1946, the members of the 3rd Marine Division were some of the most highly trained and experienced Marines in the history of the Marine Corps. They were a part of the first wave of U.S. troops to engage in major combat operations against the Japanese. They were also among the first to see combat in Korea. The members of the 3rd Marine Division were some of the bravest men who ever wore the eagle, globe, and anchor. They fought in some of the most brutal battles of the Pacific, and they did so with honor and distinction. This has been a video about famous Marine Corps units. If you want to learn more about the Marine Corps, stay tuned.